And welcome on in to another episode of Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. I'm Terry, Nick beside me, Ryan bottom left, Dave bottom right, and we are ready to break down some Friday baseball, and we'll be going over a college football game at the end of the show. I'll be making my first college football bet. Well, I've made it. I've already made it. I've made my first college football bet of the year. So we will see how long my college football betting career lasts. This play will determine a lot about my future.
This is your first college football bet ever?
No,
I did a little bit on Saturday at noon when I was bored. I would do a little bit last year, but nothing official. But
I remember that last year because I think we got you on to Wake Forest money line against UNC. And you were on Bet365 where they gave you the payout when they went up 3 touchdowns to the money line cash, but they lost that game.
Yeah. I don't exactly remember the exact, but I remember I played around.
I remember that game. That was a crazy game.
We'll start the show how we usually do, and that is looking at the current standings. So thanks to Bo Bichette, I was able to move up into first place yesterday in baseball, just slightly in the lead here, and we are all still in the green in best bets. Over under going a little bit rough, but we'll get there. It'll just take a little bit of time here, but we'll get there. By October, we'll be in the green and over under. Looking at NFL, pretty much green all around. So good start to the NFL. College football, everything's pretty much the same there. And other sports, pretty much the same there. Hockey, blank. But not for too much longer, luckily.
I think 9 days until hockey games are played. Granted, preseason games, but 9 days.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, Dave, I'm sure you're ready.
I'm ready to learn.
So hyped for hockey this year.
I'm gonna have a capping strategy by halfway through the season. If it might be one angle, but I'm gonna have something.
For sure. Just don't try to bet Gretzky goal scoring props.
Yeah.
Gretzky what? I really like him this year. I think he has a chance to score a few.
Steve Eisner.
Yeah.
We'll start off with the first game of the day, Baltimore and Toronto. I will bring up the current odds here. It is going to be a bullpen day for Toronto, which means we will be seeing Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for some duration of time. Let me take this off. You can find Baltimore plus 135 to plus 139. Toronto minus 155 to minus 167. Nines 1.8.5 available in this game. If you've been watching the show for the last few weeks, you will know one play that I am on, and that is Bo Bichette over 1.5 bases. I got it for minus 102. I believe it's around minus 108 now available. Basically, he's cashing for me every day. I'm not going to jump off now, especially against Lyles, a pitcher that the Jays hit for 5 earned runs his last trip to Toronto. And then Toronto-Baltimore games always seem to go over. So when I am on the over 9, you have Lyles on one side. You have a Jays bullpen day on the other side. And these two teams historically go over. If someone likes the under, I'd like to hear why. Because I don't see this game staying under at all. So over 9, Bo Bichette over 1.5 bases. I also have Jansen, Bichette, Moreno, and Chapman as my 4 players I'm going to target. Jansen and Moreno neither of them may be in the lineup I'm waiting for current lineups to be out before I pull the trigger on that. So follow me at Let's Go Wild Picks to find out the exact parlay I do. But I expect Toronto to get a lot of hits in this one, and I expect a lot of runs. Nick, Baltimore, Toronto, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, it wasn't a listed pitcher when I did my capping for this game earlier, and I think it's going to be a bullpen game for the Blue Jays. I did not get involved in this game, and I don't think I'm going to. I just really didn't have too much to be able to go off of for this game because all we knew was who was starting for Baltimore. So this one's a pass for me right now. I'll probably look a little bit into it a little bit more later, but probably look towards, if it's a bullpen game for the Blue Jays, maybe look towards the Orioles in this spot.
All right. Ryan, Orioles, Blue Jays, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, similar situation as Nick. The line wasn't up for a long time. Voth was the starting pitcher for the Orioles at one point. Now it's Lyles. And I'm showing Richards as the starting pitcher for the Blue Jays. So my advice is, if you're going to make a play, wait until the last minute, because it seems like we're going to get, who knows who we're going to get as pitchers. I'm a little bit concerned about the Orioles. I think the air might be coming out of the balloon here. Their odds are long to make the playoffs. They need to get really hot really quickly. I'm worried that's not going to happen. So I'm probably going to stay off this, and I want to see what happens to the Orioles as the season progresses.
All right. I do think if Baltimore is going to win a game in this series, it's going to be this one. So this is the one game that I would advise not to take Toronto, especially at minus 155 with a bullpen day. Dave, Orioles, Blue Jays, what do you think in this one?
Same thing. I don't cap baseball until I see pitching. I'm looking at the odds. I actually was capping it while we're talking. The Toronto's bullpen's been pretty good the past month. I don't know, a bullpen game versus a singular game where the bullpen has to pitch 2 or 3 innings is different. However, don't like the over because the over's got to be good on both sides. I don't like the under necessarily. I'm not going to bet the over is what I'm saying. I do kind of like Toronto's team total over. I see it at 4.5 at minus 127. That's too juiced. If you can get it around down near minus 120, you can think about it. But what's weird is it has the Orioles total at minus 3.5 and the Blue Jays at or minus 3.5 at 3.5 and Blue Jays at 4.5, but the game total is 9. So those numbers don't mesh, and I'd really have to jump into it to see what if I was forced to bet this game. I'm just going to pass.
Yeah, luckily you're not forced to bet every game. We'll move on to the next one. The White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. You can find the White Sox at minus 150 to minus 155. You can find Detroit plus 125 to plus 135. I see 7.5s and 8s when it comes to the total in this one. I think there's a pitching mismatch in this game. Lucas Giolito and Matt Manning. Manning is a pitcher that I've been backing for the most part since coming back from injury. He did have that one bad game against Seattle, but otherwise has pitched pretty well. So I'm going to be, and on the other side, Giolito obviously has had a few good games, but for the most part is allowing runs. He's allowed the one game against Minnesota, which he lost, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, and 2 walks. That was his best game as of late. He allowed 5 hits, 3 earned runs, and 2 walks against Oakland in his last game. 6 hits, 5 earned runs, and 2 walks against Kansas City the game before Minnesota. Oakland, Kansas City, Detroit, I think they're all pretty much comparable. Actually, Detroit's probably actually better than those two teams. So in this spot here, I got Detroit first 5, I believe, for minus 114 plus a half. All I need is a tied Detroit to be tied or winning, and I don't think that's too much to ask after the first 5. So that's what I like. Nick, what do you think here? White Sox, Tigers.
Yeah, I'm on a similar page here. I didn't bet this game, but I'm leaning Tigers first 5. I do think Matt Manning probably has a pitching advantage over Lucas Giolito. The one thing is that Chicago has been playing pretty well as of late, and they're in a heated race now. They're only 3 games behind the Guardians. I still think this team can win the division. They still got a couple more games against the Guardians, so they definitely have the opportunity to make up the ground. So I think that they can. I lean Tigers first 5, but this is another pass for me.
All right. Ryan, White Sox, Tigers. What do you think in this game?
Similar things. When I got into the numbers, I saw some quality in Matt Manning's most recent starts. And I want to back this White Sox team. They're on a roll. They're playing well. I got nervous about the run line. I didn't see value in that. So I don't make many parlays, but I'm using the White Sox as a parlay piece with the Red Sox. I think they're going to win it. Might be a close game.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't get involved in that Boston game, but I was looking at Boston first 5 money line as a parlay piece. But Boston hugely favored in that game, but we'll talk about it in last pitch. Dave, White Sox, Tigers. What do you think here?
Yeah, I am. I'm on the over in this game. I'm not a Giolito fan. I think he's really erratic. We'll have a decent game and a bad game. I mean, we're still looking at a guy with an ERA over 5. He was giving up 3 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 1, 7, 4. So he's good for some runs. And then screw Matt Manning in every way. He was hot, and then I took him, and that was the one game he got blasted. So I don't have to give him a second chance. I don't want to. Plus, he's on the Tigers. So he's good for some runs. Then you look at the bullpen. Chicago's bullpen's been pretty good, but pitching actually above expectation based on their xFIP. And then you look at Detroit, whose bullpen is pitching in the middle of the pack, but way above expectation based on their xFIP. And they're giving up over a home run per 9. So that's on the high side. So 7.5 was too low. It's juiced to the over, but I think I got it at minus 115. Might have been minus 120. Anyways, 7.5 is a great number. Like the over.
All right. I hope the Tigers score a bunch of runs for you.
Sure. All 8 of them.
We'll go on to the next game here. Texas Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays. You can find I was on the wrong screen. My bad there. You can find Texas plus 135 to plus 125 to plus 143. Tampa Bay minus 150 to minus 160. 7.5s, some 7s available in this game. I'm taking Texas first 5 plus a half. Basically, I am backing Perez, who in his last few starts has looked much more like the Perez that we've seen all season long. And his last game against Toronto, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. The game before that against Houston, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. He did lose that game. And then the previous game, also against Houston, he didn't fare too well, giving up 9 hits and 5 earned runs. But I like what I've seen from his last 2 starts. He's facing a Tampa Bay team that, yes, they scored 11 runs and they beat the Blue Jays yesterday, which was a very good game for them. But if you look at what they've been doing previous to that, not so good, losing 5 out of 6. So I liked Texas in the first 5 here. I think Perez pitches well. Kluber, I don't think Texas is going to light him up or anything, but I think Texas first 5 plus a half, which I got for minus 110, I think is a good play. Nick, what do you think here? Rangers, Rays?
Not a game I got involved in. I guess I would be leaning towards, at this price, the Rangers, because this line opened up at minus 135. Now it's up to minus 150 for the Rays. So some line value maybe on the Rangers in this spot, but not one I particularly got to. So once again, another pass for me. Not a game I was interested in.
All right.
Good job on the games.
Yeah, it seems to. Hey, the games I like, people seem to be not too high on. But hey, that's fine. That's why we have last pitch.
Football season.
What do you think?
Exactly.
Rangers and Rays.
Yeah, there's a number of teams I'm looking at that are packing it in, and it just doesn't seem to be putting up good performances. And I'm looking at the Royals, the A's, and also the Nationals appear to be tanking at this point. And the Rangers are just outside that group. I'm not sure they're capable of putting up good performances. But I didn't get involved. I lean under here, but I didn't get involved.
All right. Dave, the game of the night? No, I'm just kidding. Rangers, Rays. What do you think of this one?
I have a play in this one, and it's exactly the opposite of Terry's. We did not talk about this before. I'm surprised that we both have a play on the same game. I think when it comes down to it, Martin Perez is a good pitcher. He had his worst month he's had last month. Kluber's definitely, a good pitcher as well. I'm just looking at how Tampa Bay is hitting left-handed pitching versus how the Rangers are hitting right-handed pitching. And there's a big edge the past 2 weeks to the Rays. I also think now here's the deal. I have this thing about teams that have packed it in and maybe teams that are just there to kind of upset people. I think the Rays still have something to play for though. Obviously, they can't catch the Yankees, right? I haven't looked at the standings lately, but
not really, but they want that number one wild card spot.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone in that division has something to play for. I think this is, that's got to be on people's minds. So I took the first 5 run line at plus 100, which is kind of scary that it's juiced the other way. But my read on this game is that Tampa Bay's hitting's better and that Martin Perez is at best equal with Kluber at this moment. Maybe not earlier in the season, I wouldn't say that, but right now, he's regressed.
All right. Next up, BetStamp. Use code WILD when signing up. Make sure to do your line shopping. Find the best odds for whatever you're betting. Follow me there at Let's Go Wild Picks. Follow Ryan there at what is it, Ryan, again?
RY_GUY.
Perfect. Use code WILD when signing up. Moving on to the last game for baseball before we get to last pitch, and then we'll have the college football game as well. Seattle Mariners and the LA Angels. You can find Seattle minus 160 to minus 168. The Angels plus 130 to plus 140. Eights, mostly 8s and 8.5s, depending on which books you use. In this one, it's the Angels, a team that strikes out a lot against Robbie Ray, a strikeout pitcher. In his first game against the Angels this year, he had 10 strikeouts. In the second game, he had 10 strikeouts. In the third game, he had 10 strikeouts. So he has got to 10 strikeouts in all 3 games against the Angels this year. And it is 6.5 for plus 100. So I think it's pretty clear on where I'm going with that. Why not get 7? If you look at his last 2 games, he hasn't. He actually got 6 strikeouts in his last game against Atlanta, which wasn't a very good game for him. Previous to that, only 3 against Cleveland. But if you look at August, 7 in 3 games, and then 2 against the Angels twice. I think he gets to 7 strikeouts. Maybe even you want to ladder it up to 10, because if he's done it 3 games already, why not do it 4? But for me, I'll take the plus money at over 6.5. Nick, Mariners, Angels, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I guess I'll lean towards the Mariners in this spot for me. Lorenzen's a big question mark for what we should expect from him. We haven't seen too much from him recently. He's only thrown 1 appearance in the last 30 days, went 5 1/3 innings. Not a game I'm particularly interested in. So this one was another pass. I just don't really know what to expect from Lorenzen in this game, and I'm limiting my action in baseball, so there's not much for me here.
All right. Ryan, Mariners, Angels, what do you think of this one?
So I looked at today's card, and I tried to find the situation where there's a pitcher where I can trust the most. And that, in my mind, it was Robbie Ray. and I think they win this game. I'm on the run line as my best bet. Just as you mentioned, Ray has done really well against this Angels team. He's done well in the second half of the season. I just feel like he's a pitcher you can trust. He's been consistent, and this is my best bet.
All right. Dave, Mariners, Angels. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we didn't talk about, and I don't disagree with any of it, with two things. One is Robbie Ray has pitched very, very well against the Angels. Problem is, the past month, the Angels have hit incredibly well against left-handed pitching at home, and I had to go out 30 days instead of 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, I haven't faced many lefties at home, but the average is 295. OPS is 969. ISO is 347. That's off the charts, and WRC plus is 168. Seattle on the road has been hitting right-handed pitching, not quite as well, but still well above average. And then the Angels bullpen's not that good. Seattle's is. So I like the over in this game. I think a lot of runs are scored. I'm looking at the Angels team total 3.5. I'm thinking about betting that, but for right now, I like the over in this game.
Interesting. You don't know who the Angels faced. What left-hand pitchers, right?
It's for a month. It's for a whole month. So, I mean, it could be – and that's just not starting pitchers. That's relieving pitchers. I mean, that's left-handed pitching. So, they had 101 at-bats. So, you figure, like, of a full game of – they had 4 full games, and you only face a starting pitcher for 4 to 6 innings. So, they probably had 6 – if it was just starting pitchers, 6 to 8 games to look at. And Robbie Ray's great. Robbie Ray was a Cy Young Award winner, but he's not the same pitcher he was. We've seen him get hit. And this team's hitting, and it could just be the Angels. And whenever I bet on them, they lose. So you guys are all going to win your bets. But the numbers are telling me that it's undeniably they are smashing left-handed pitching at home the past 30 days.
All right, we'll see if they can handle a pitcher they've struggled against. Do you think Suarez 2+ total bases against Lorenzen? I did not look at player props for this game, so I don't have anything for you. But anybody else? No? Nothing? Okay. We'll go on to last pitch and look at the rest of the slate. Marlins Nationals, Luzardo against Josiah Gray. Was a complete pass for me. I lean to the over, but not going to get involved. Royals and White Sox, Heasley against Waka. Waka is consistent, has been really good basically all year long when he's pitched. Definitely someone I'd like to back, especially against Heasley, but the odds are just I'm kind of priced out of that. Like, as much as I'd like to back Waka, I can't bet Boston as that huge of a favorite. They are 69 and 74. Not a horrible team, and they obviously are facing the Royals, but I can't bet the Red Sox at that price. No opinion in Mets and Pirates. Twins and Guardians, Ober against McKenzie. When I see McKenzie, I go on to the next game because when I've backed him, he gets lit up, and then when I fade him, he pitches a gem. So that's one pitcher that I avoid basically right off the bat. Phillies and Braves, Suarez against Max Fried. As much as I'd love to back Max Fried, the Braves are struggling right now. They are struggling. So not a spot that I want to jump in on them in this division rivalry. Athletics against Astros. Verlander against Martinez. Obviously, Verlander, the much better pitcher, but coming off brief injury there, and a huge favorite against the Athletics. So if you're betting Houston, you'd have to probably go -2.5 or something like that, which I will not be getting involved in. Nothing in Yankees Brewers. Maybe a lean to the over, but not. I don't like to get involved with the Brewers like Dave, unless there's a good reason to, and there's not really a good reason to at this point.
Not even if there's a fire.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, if they were letting up 6+ runs a game, then I would jump on to bet against them or with the over or something. But otherwise, it's not a team I'm looking at really. Reds Cardinals to be determined for Cincinnati against Jack Flaherty. Can't really do too much with that at this point. I would look to back St. Louis in some form, but have not got involved. Padres against Diamondbacks, Snell against Bumgarner. Not going near with a 10-foot pole in that game. I lean to the over, but not getting involved. May against Webb, Dodgers Giants. It would be a lean to the Giants, but I don't like to fade the Dodgers. I'm very selective when I fade the Dodgers, and I'm not going to in this spot here. Nick, last pitch, rest of the baseball slate. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be able to give out plays now. I'm currently sitting on the over 8.5 in the Chicago-Colorado game, and of course, Stroman's throwing a no-hitter through 5, so that's fun. If you ever want to know when a game is going to be like 1-0 through like 8 innings or something like that, just look for when I bet overs. When I bet overs, for whatever reason, one team always gets shut out. And then I'm on 4 sides to end the night. I like the Cleveland Guardians -1 against the Twins. The Twins are a fade team for me going down the stretch. The Guardians are a team I want to back a little bit. They're going to be in a big race with the White Sox down the stretch, and I think that this is the part where the Twins start to fall out. The Twins are only 4 games out heading into this series, but I think they'll probably be 5 to 7 games out by the time they're done with this series. I think Cleveland could potentially sweep them here. So Guardians -1 at +111. And then I'm taking 3 shots with 3 first 5 underdogs. The first one here is with Ranger Suarez and the Philadelphia Phillies in the first 5 innings against the Atlanta Braves, their first game back after a long West Coast trip. And these two teams play 7 games against each other in the next 10 games for the Braves. So I'm hoping that the Phillies take 3 to 4 at least from the Braves, and they kind of split. So it's always a nice day knowing that at least the Phillies or the Braves are going to lose. But I'm going to take them first 5 here, +160 with the Phillies. I am backing Mad Bum and the Diamondbacks first 5. I'm going to continue riding the wagon of the Arizona Diamondbacks first 5s. It cashed for me last night. And also, this is a combination of backing the Diamondbacks first 5s, which I've been doing a decent amount, and fading the Padres in general. Waking up and fading the Fraudres. And one thing I will say is the Padres are going to miss the playoffs. The Brewers are going to take that 6th spot. And the Brewers are going to beat the Cardinals in the first round. I'm going to put that one out there as well. When they put up Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff up against the Cardinals game 1 and game 2, I think that they have a good chance of knocking off the Cards. So there's a little tidbit there. I think that first of all, the Padres missed the playoffs is what I'm going to say. So yeah, I'm going to continue fading them. Diamondbacks first 5, money line +155. And I'm going to end the day with a pitcher that kind of doesn't get talked about too much that I think is a little underrated, going up against a team that really has nothing to play for. They've got the number 1 seed in the NL locked up. They've got the division already locked up. So give me the Giants first 5. You said that on the – I mean, I've been saying the Padres are going to miss the playoffs for weeks now. I think they're 18-19 since they got Juan Soto. So – but yeah, give me the Giants first 5, +135 against the Dodgers. I think that at the very least they can go out there, score a couple of runs, and be leading at the end of 5. Okay, that's fair. Well, the Milwaukee Brewers are one of those teams, one of the 3 teams in the National League that actually have a winning record versus winning teams. The other 2 being the Dodgers and the Mets. Note, there's not a team on that list. But that's all the baseball I got for today.
All right. You made me remember when you're talking about Arizona and this comment previously.
Yeah.
If McCarthy is in the lineup, I'll be going right back to that parlay again with Bichette and McCarthy both to get a hit because it's another lefty. McCarthy hits lefties well and has been hot lately. So I'll be going right back to that parlay again if he's confirmed. And Bo Bichette. Well, I hope. I can't see Bo Bichette not playing, but he will have to rest eventually. Ryan, what do you think here? Last pitch.
Well, I'm going to start with the Yankees. I know they've been a rough team to back, but Montas has been in high leverage situations. He had 2 quality starts against the Rays. I think this is a good spot for him. I don't have any faith in Hauser. There's 2 versions of the Yankees. We saw a good version in the early part of the season, and then we saw them slump for a long time. And I think we're starting to see that good version again. And this is a spot that I want to back the Yankees. I have a lean on the Astros team total over 4.5. I think this A's team is toast. They've been involved in these 9-8 games. It's a little bit of a weird spot because Verlander's pitching. He's probably going to be babied. The Astros really don't have anything to play for. So it's just a lean, but I think that team total of the Astros looks good to me. I have a little bit of different opinion on this Cleveland, Minnesota. I also am worried about Tristan McKenzie. Initially that looked really good. The angle that I'm taking is I put a sprinkle on the Twins at plus 900 to make the playoffs, and just a sprinkle. They swept the Royals. They didn't do well in their last series against the Guardians, but this is their last shot. They're up against the wall now. This is a must-win game, and this is a must-win 5-win series. And I'm going to put a little bit to ride to see how they do. It was only the Royals, but Joe Ryan almost had a no-hitter, and they won those games handily. So I'm putting a little sprinkle on the Twins to make the playoffs. And then my last pick of the day is the Dodgers-Giants under 7.5. And I'm just continuing to ride this long streak of Giants unders, which I think is getting up to close to double digits now. And I think it's a good spot for it here, too.
All right, Dave, what do you think? Thanks, Terry.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it.
I have one other play. It is the Diamondbacks. I'm with Nick. I found a way. I don't bet them every game, and I don't fade the Padres every game. I've definitely found ways to fade the Padres, especially when Manaea's pitching and Snell. I know Snell's been a little bit better. His last start kind of shows his true colors, which, by the way, the only year he ever pitched well was a Cy Young year, and everyone's like, oh, he's fallen off. He wasn't that good before that, too. He's just not that great of a pitcher. He's not accurate. He's pitched about as best as he's pitched before last game, 3 to 4 games before that was the best he's ever pitched minus a Cy Young year. So plus Arizona seems to be just getting it done for whatever reason. They don't really have, it's one of these spoiler teams, and the Padres are a team that does have to try to get things to get up and get going, but I'm not sure they can. I have no faith in the Brewers. I could actually give a crap whether each of those teams come in the playoffs because they're not going to beat they're not going to do anything. They're not going to beat the Mets or the Dodgers. But last thing I'll say is St. Louis is a team of destiny. They're always a good team in the second half. I've said it. Guardians, Cardinals. I've said it almost every show. They're a second half team. They definitely have been for the past 15 years. And when you've got Yachty, Pujols, and Wainwright all in their last year, they're all old men and they're all still playing. How could you bet against them, especially with the screwers? Screw that.
One just to speculate about this Diamondbacks game. Madison Bumgarner's 33 years old. He's had a rough season. Mm-hmm. He may retire, and he may only have a couple starts left in his career, and he may find a gear here. He may find a gear and his team. He's got a team behind him. So I don't. I'm just speculation. I don't know what he's planning.
I'm not low. Everyone is really low, and they call him names, and they make up all sorts of funny, nicknames for him because he's got bum in his name. He's all right. And right now, Arizona. I found a way to cash on them. They went to extra innings and had a walk off. I won yesterday. We looked at Manaea. So it seems like the right play. There is very little capping that goes into it. Besides the Padres haven't been playing well, and I don't like Blake Snell, but there is some sort of intangible part of this. And I agree. Bumgarner's plenty serviceable.
Does Verlander stay in the game long enough to get over 5.5 Ks?
They're not going to – they have no reason to pitch to have him go and have complete game shutouts. There's no reason.
And yet
if anything, you want to take him out early and be careful.
Yeah, 4 innings.
Houston, I believe, the only team minus 300 plus points in the last months to cover the run line.
Yeah, which brings up a good question for that Astros game real quick. are the Astros worth minus 350 if you're going to get 4 innings from Justin Verlander?
No.
Like I was kind of looking at the Athletics plus 2.5.
Well, Houston's had the number one bullpen the past 2 weeks. Their ERA is almost under 1. So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then the A's hitting period the past 2 weeks, or I'll go the past month because I have that up. Yeah, they're horrible. 226, 656, 137 ISO 93. Actually, they're slightly below average. I mean, go for it. There's value there, but it's not a bet I like to take.
All right. Follow everyone in the description below. Obviously, everyone on the show today. And obviously follow Nick and Tim at ESB, their YouTube channel, and Picks from Dave as well. And now we are going to break down one college football game that is happening tonight. The Florida State Seminoles and the Louisville Cardinals. You can find Florida State minus 140 to minus 150. Louisville plus 115 to plus 126. Mostly Florida State by minus 2.5, some threes, 56.5 and 57 when it comes to the total. I am not a college football handicapper. I am taking a stab here, kind of a for fun play. But I know Nick and Dave are obviously college football handicappers. Ryan, do you touch college football at all?
I do. I haven't gotten involved much this season, and it's down the priority list for me. But I'm not involved in this game, but I may be in other spots, in other college football action.
Okay. But yeah, I'm taking a stab here in this game, but I don't want to. I'm not going to try and say I'm this big shot college football handicapper, because that is definitely not true. But I'm taking the favorite here, Florida State minus 2.5. They've looked really good their first 2 games. And that's basically all I have. Not a too in-depth handicap. It's kind of a for fun play to have some football action tonight, because I have nothing in the CFL game today. That's why it's not even on the list. But Nick,
CFL does still exist, by the way.
Nick will have plays in CFL and this game, I think. So,
Yep.
Nick, what do you think here? Florida State, Louisville.
This game pissed me off because when I bet it early thinking I was going to get a good line, and the lines moved 3.5 points against me. So I got the under 53.5 in this game. When I see these two teams, Florida State's played some pretty good defense so far this season. They gave up 7 points, granted, versus Duquesne week 1, but they held LSU to 23 points. I cashed the under on that game. That was Sweat needed the block extra point at the end to cash that under, but still was a winner. And on the other side, Louisville, both their games have gone under to the total so far this season, and they're playing at a much slower pace than they have in years past. So I think we're still getting a little bit of inflated lines for this total. So I think that this is a slower game, slower moving game where we may see a little bit of running here. Malik Cunningham is a little bit more of a run-first quarterback. He is a extreme light version of Lamar Jackson. Just his play style, the guy's not that good though. He's a 5th-year senior for a reason. I think this line's correct. My line for this game was FSU minus 2.5. So I stayed off the side, really want nothing to do with the side. I do like the under this game, though. I see this as a lower scoring game.
All right. Dave, Florida State, Louisville. What do you think here?
Yeah, a lot of things I agree with. I'm on Florida State, and I actually have them index at Louisville at a plus or minus 1. I think everyone, I go against my indexes sometimes, and I did this time because Louisville, to me, I mean, how could you be overrated and not be good? I think they're bad. I watched them last year. Malik Cunningham is trash. Like Nick said, if you're a 5th-year senior, usually 5th-year seniors are like the slow in the pocket, Mac Jones type of guys that just weren't ever good enough to be, or thought to be as good enough to go to the NFL, and they're just going to be game managers, kind of like Clifford is at Penn State. Malik Cunningham, they thought he was going to be, the next coming of Lamar Jackson, and he's not. All he can do is run. And we saw FSU against LSU. Their defense looked pretty good, and that's a legit team in a legit conference. And Jordan Travis could be the man. He looks really good. So I like Florida State. But the only thing that kind of worries me a little bit is Louisville. That weird things happen there. But all we got to cover is a field goal. I'm with Florida State.
All right. And yeah, Ryan, no thoughts?
Not in this game, no.
Okay. We'll move on to the best bet segment, and we'll start with over under, as we usually do. Let me bring it up here. Me and Tim on the same page. We are going with Baltimore and Toronto over 9. Ryan, you are going Dodgers, San Francisco under 7.5. Nick is typing his plan right now, which is Edmonton and Saskatchewan over 49.5. Dave, is there a total that you like today?
Yep, I like the White Sox Tigers over 7.5. Which probably means that one won't win and the Angels game will go over because those are the two I have to choose from. But you know what? Whatever.
All right.
That's a spirit.
Going on to, the right thoughts, exactly. But going on to dog of the day. For me, Texas Rangers, first 5. Nick, you're going with Philadelphia Phillies, first 5. Yep. Tim, going Baltimore Orioles, full game. Dave, any dog today?
Arizona, first 5.
I like it.
And the problem is that line has gone up 15 cents, so people really don't like the Diamondbacks.
I don't think people like Bumgarner.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't care. You know how I feel about lines and money and all that.
I've made money fading Bumgarner earlier on in the year. I've made money backing Arizona recently, but I'm passing today. So
it's about plus 140, 145. But anyways, we can look it up later.
Yeah, I'll find out the odds.
I got 155 with them earlier.
Well, I had 138 last night, so it's gone. It's going. Yeah, it's weird. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I'll check the odds right after the show. Ryan, any dog?
No dogs today.
No? All right. And then going on to best bets. I'm sticking with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Bo Bichette over 1.5 bases. Not a plus money today, but I still like it. Nick, you're going San Francisco Giants, first 5 money line, plus 140. Tim is going to going with Florida State, minus 2.5. Ryan, you're going Seattle Mariners, minus 1.5. And Dave, what is your best bet?
My best bet is Air Force Academy versus Wyoming college football, the over 46.5.
Love it.
What are the Falcons? The Falcons and the Cowboys? Gotta love it.
Cowboys.
Over 46.5?
Yep. At minus 110 on FanDuel.
Yeah. The good old AFA.
Mac/Harvard under 50.5. Stop it. Get some help. Yes, Richie. LOL. If you don't get the inside joke, watch Nick and Tim's show, and then you'll see.
Oh yeah,
but that is today's show. In 15 minutes, we'll be going over the Dallas Stars and their off season, and then tomorrow, the day has finally come. I will get to talk about my Minnesota Wild, so make sure to tune into that show. It's going to be a good one. But best of luck to everybody on your bets tonight. Smash like button and the subscribe button. And make sure to follow everybody. And we will see you again for other episodes of Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. Have a good one, guys.